You can now build apps without knowing how to code. And this is because of the progress in AI coding models and the progress of AI coding platforms that use these models. And the best platform by far is Cursor. So whether you want to build tools for your own personal use or build internal tools for your company or job, or if you want to build an app to make money, this video is for you. This is a step-by-step Cursor guide. And today we're going to be building an app with Cursor. And in this process, we are going to talk about what Cursor is. We're also going to discuss the key features of Cursor that I use. We're also going to discuss APIs and how you can use other tools out there and add power-ups and abilities to your app. We're also going to discuss adding different types of features with AI, and then we're going to discuss deploying so that you can put this on the internet and send a link to your friend so that they can try it. The best way to understand and learn Cursor is to just see it in action. So we're just going to start off by downloading Cursor, and you can do that on cursor.com. You can see the URL right here, and whatever machine you're on, you're going to download this and it will then show up on your computer somewhere. I have it pinned down here at the bottom bar because I use it every day. I'm going to right click on this and open up a new window, and we see two options. We can start with a folder or we can open with SSH. We are now going to start with a folder, and if you want to start completely from scratch, you can just create a new folder on your computer and name it anything and start from an empty project. We are not going to do that. For me, I like to use a template, which does all of the boring work of getting the project set up. We're going to go to softwarecomposer.com. And once you join this community, it's free. You just come into this site. Within Software Composer, on the left panel here, you're going to see templates. You're going to click on this templates folder and you're going to hit link to template. And we're going to hit use template. It doesn't really matter what you name it. I'm just going to call this hello man. And we're going to hit use template. And we are now going to download this template. And this is going to be our starting point for Cursor. So we're going to press this little folder icon here at the top left. Once that's open, there's going to be these three dots right here by file. And we are going to press download as a zip, and that will take a few seconds. And as you can see here, the zip is downloaded, and so we need to unzip it. So just double click on it. That should unzip the file. We're going to take this and we're going to drag this into desktop for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to find where that project exists. Here it is. It's in Hello Man. And so what we can do is we can open up Cursor, and we're going to hit open a folder. We're going to go to Hello Man, click on this, open. And now we have our template. And so this is our code project. We have our code files on the left, and if we press Command I, we can now open up Composer. Cursor allows you to ask for features or ask for changes in your app, and it will go out in Composer and it will edit these code files. It will create these code files, and now with their new agent feature within Composer, it can now delete files and it will ask your permission. It says, do I have permission to delete this file? So it can add, edit, and delete code files, and it can fully create coding projects that you can deploy to the internet. And so we have all of our files set up. And so the first thing that we need to do, just copy me exactly for this step, because the template that we downloaded was made for Replit. And I'm just going to say that. So you should say that for your first prompt. We're going to type this out together. We're going to say the following. I started this project as a template in Replit. So it was supposed to be a Replit project, and now I want you to make sure that it is compatible with localhost and running it locally. Please do that and then run it on localhost. We're going to run our first agent prompt here. And this is basically going to set it up. It's going to convert the project to the right format. It should take only a minute or two. And then what it's going to do is it's going to run the project on localhost. So we're hitting accept. And now it's going to ask us to run commands. And so we're just going to run these commands here. And now we're going to hit run command, run all of them that they said. So perfect. Your development server is now running. And so in order to open this up, you can press command, click, and this will open up your server. And here it is. This is the starting point of the template. And so now what we can do is we can open up a new composer here and we can type whatever app we want. Let's ask for it to create a basic chat app. I want you to create a chat app. And we can also use, and I use Whisper Flow to speak into my computer. And if you see me speaking into my computer and it transcribing it, that's what I'm using. So I want to create a chat app. I want this to look exactly like ChatGPT. And I want to use the OpenAI API, and I want to chat with ChatGPT 4. And I want to have a loading indicator for the chatbot's response. And I want you to make this like a simple, clean chat app. And what we can do here is we can actually go to ChatGPT and we can copy this. So let's just screenshot this right here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna drag this screenshot directly in here and we're gonna say, I uploaded a screenshot, and have just the little buttons below the chat input field, put little sample questions there. And they should be really short questions. And just have those simple questions there. Recreate this interface. Don't worry about the top bar for now. But you're making the home page of this app, this page right here that I can immediately chat with. Ignore the Firebase configurations for now. One more thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on the web for ChatGPT, and I'm gonna say, give me code examples for GPT-4o to create a basic Next.js. Next.js is the framework that we're using. And so you just need to put that in to make sure that you get the proper formatting, that you get the proper code examples for ChatGPT. And so give me code examples, Next.js app. This is for a basic chat app using the OpenAI API. So here we go. We actually got a response that we can copy. We can copy the entire response. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back to cursor and say, here are the code examples for GPT, and I'm just gonna paste them all right here in the chat. And now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna also say, set up the proper env file for me to put my API key in. We'll get to that in a second. Just include that because we basically need to create an account on OpenAI that says the credits that are used with this technology, I'm gonna pay for it, basically. And that's an API key. And so we're just gonna run this. And let's see what it creates. So it is now looking through the code base, looked through the directory, decided what it needs to do. It decides what model to use. It's using GPT-4o, that's correct. Now it's creating the main chat interface. So it's still creating the main chat interface. And here it's asking us to run this command. And so this is, now it wants to use some icons, and it also wants to use the OpenAI API. So we're just gonna hit run command, and we're just gonna click pop out terminal here. And so here we go. It is done. It's still not going to work because we haven't given it our API token yet. And so as you can see here, this is now what the app looks like. We have this message ChatGPT input field. Hello, ChatGPT, hi. And if we were to press send, I think nothing's gonna happen. We're gonna get an error because we haven't put in our API key yet. And so we need to go get our API key. And what I can do on ChatGPT, I can just go to ChatGPT and turn on search and say, take me to the exact page, and I'll just say, give me link to get my API token. And here we go. So we can click on this link that it gave us. Let's open this up, new tab created. And here are the API keys. So here's the link, platform.openai.com/API keys. And if you come here and you haven't created an account with OpenAI yet, you're gonna need to go through those steps. Once you've gone through those steps, you're gonna hit create new key. You should keep these secret, which is why I'm gonna pause the video and get my API key off camera because I don't want anyone using my API tokens. So once you have your API token, since I asked it to create the env file, remember that env file is where your API key needs to go. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to click on where it says env.local. And look at this, it opened it up here. So now I'm just going to put my API key right here in the env.local, and that will allow this to work. Okay, so I pasted my API key there, and now what we can do is we're gonna go back to our little app here, and we're gonna open up localhost, because that's where it's running, and I'm just going to refresh it real quick. And now let's type in a question. Hello, ChatGPT. Boom, it works. What are you up to, man? Tell me how to use cursor. And it thinks I'm talking about mouse control, but that's the point. And look at this, you notice that this is in this really weird format. So we can just ask the composer to change that. And you can just you can do screenshots. Look at this. You can just screenshot this, and let's ask for a bunch of changes here. I want you to please make the output have markdown formatting. Right now it looks like a jumbled mess. And also, I really hate the icons that you have. Please make the icon for me like a basic person icon, and have text for the AI's response, and make the AI's name Jimmy, and actually have a little tiny icon for Jimmy. And also just like make the whole chat interface cleaner and better. Right now it looks choppy and ugly. So look at the image, analyze it, and then I want you to like just make it clean, simple, and adhere to everything that I said here. And so we can now run this. And I asked for like 4 or 5 different changes. There we go here. All right, so now it is asking us to install React Markdown. So we're just gonna run this command, and that will allow this formatting to be a lot better. Oh wow, it's already made some changes here. Updated the icons. Okay, it's already done. Let's accept. And so now, here's Jimmy. Hello, I'm Jimmy, your AI assistant. How can I help you today? Tell me the steps for using ChatGPT. And so we can run this. And so it has better spacing, but I can't tell if it has bullets or headings. Okay, so that's not doing bullets or headings. It's not doing bullets or headings. Please make that happen and format it correctly. And so we're gonna run this command, whatever it wants here. And so now we're just gonna press accept, and here, there we go. It automatically switched over. We didn't even have to create a new chat. Let's go ahead and refresh this real quick. Oh, what the heck? Explain the process of cooking with olive oil. And let's see, I'm gonna say expand on this. And let's see if it remembers, if it has context of the full chat. Okay, so it does have full context, and we basically fully created an AI chat app in just a few minutes. All right, so now let's go over the features of Cursor that I use most frequently. And so this search bar allows me to search for anything in the code base. So I could search for Jimmy, and here it will show me all the pages with Jimmy. And so I can click on hello, I'm Jimmy. So I can very quickly edit this code base. And so I'm your AI assistant, help you with various tasks. Here are some things that I can do. And this is basically what it lists out right here, and these are the things that are shown here. We have this bottom part that says message Jimmy. Let's say we wanted to change this part that says message Jimmy to something else. We can go to that search bar and we could type in message Jimmy, and we can click on this right here. We see placeholder equals message Jimmy. So we can just change that. Send a message to Gen Z Jimmy, and that'll make sense in just a second. And once you're done with that, you press Command S, and that saves it, which now updates it right here. Now it says send a message to Gen Z Jimmy. So since you've never written a line of code, you may not even know where to go to edit the prompt that runs Gen Z Jimmy. And so I want to go there real quick. And let's say I don't know where it is, and we just want to find it so we can edit the prompt in the code. We can actually go to the chat, and we can just say @codebase. Make sure that you just go ahead and type in here, show me the prompt that is used for Jimmy. I want to change it. Chat will not immediately change files in your project. So Composer will. It'll actually edit them, and all you have to do is press accept, and you can accept all the changes that it does. And that's how I normally code. Here, I'm just looking for this current prompt here. And so we can actually see that the Jimmy's initial welcome prompt is defined in use chat. Here's the relevant section. This is the prompt for the whole chat experience. And I wanted to ask this question here because we're not looking for this initial message thing right here. What we're doing is we're looking for this right here. It's like, you are a helpful assistant. And so if you want to go to that page, just click on this route.ts, and here we go. Now we're here. System, you are a helpful AI assistant who speaks, we can change this, like a Gen Z teenager. So this is the tab feature. Since I changed it to Gen Z Jimmy, it now knows what we want. So whenever you see this little autocorrect thing here that pops up, or autocomplete, you can just press tab and automatically finishes what you're saying. Who speaks like a Gen Z teacher. Let's actually say you're a 20-year-old in all lowercase, and you speak in slang, and I'll zoom out here a little bit so you can see it, in slang of a Gen Z teenager, and we can hit Command S. And let's actually make sure you always speak like this. Command S. So now let's go ahead and test it. And we can now say, hello, Jimmy, tell me about OpenAI. And we can run this. Yo, OpenAI is like this intense, cool tech gig. It's all about artificial intelligence, you know? They're about making sure AI comes good for everyone. Yeah, and so this, you can kind of change the personality. And that is just another feature of this app. And so now let's go ahead and add a voice. So we're going to be using another API. So I actually use Perplexity for a lot of the API stuff that I do. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Perplexity. And so this is where we can find a bunch of the tools that we can use. So I want to add speech to my app. It's a basic ChatGPT app, except I want to give the option to play it out loud, the AI's response out loud. And so I want to use the 11 Labs API for this. Can you please find the relevant code to do this in a Next.js project? And remember to always use Next.js. And I'm just going to run this. And so you can do it like this, or you can do it with the ChatGPT web feature, or you could just go directly to 11 Labs. Sometimes you won't even know that you want to use 11 Labs and you'll need to ask for an API. That's perfectly okay too. So we can easily do text to speech. So this is what we want to use. What we need to first get is we need to get our API keys. And so our API keys are right here. I'm actually going to create a new API key. New API key. And so I'm going to pause the video for a second because I don't want this to be given away. So I got the API key copied, and here we have some example code for how to use the 11 Labs API. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to say in cursor, I'm going to give you the documentation for the 11 Labs API to give me the option to play the chatbot's responses out loud. And what we're going to do is we're just going to paste in the documentation on where the AI response is. I want you to have a play button that allows me to just play it out with a voice. And then we're giving this. And now what we're going to do, I removed the citations on here. So now it is done. And it immediately told me to add your 11 Labs API key to my .env local file. So I clicked on that, it took me directly to this page, and I'm about to paste my API key right here. Okay, so I just did that and I am done. So I'm just going to make sure we accept all. Now let's go over to our app here on localhost 3000. As you can see, we have this play icon. Let's see if this works. We may need to refresh. So let's go ahead and refresh this here. We can say, hi, Jimmy. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm going to hit inspect here. We're going to open this up. So in order to debug properly while in localhost, you want to hit inspect and you want to keep this console open right here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this play sign. And so we got this error. And so what we're going to do here is I'm just going to copy this and say, I got an error when trying to play. I'm going to paste this in and we're going to run it. And let's give this a try. Let's see if this works. Jim, what's up? Hey, not much. Chilling. What about you? Cool.
Hey, not much. Just chilling. Why you?
I'm building an app, man. And this is our final feature before we deploy it. Okay, so this is cool. So
That's lit, bro. What's the app about? Must be a vibe NGL.
And there we go. We have a simple Gen Z Jimmy app that we created with a few prompts. We added the OpenAI API. We added the 11 Labs API. And it's pretty fun. All right, so now let's deploy this to the internet so we have a link that we can share with other people. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna say, I want to deploy this on Vercel. Please help me do all of this and I want to deploy it. And we're gonna run this with the agent. So I will help you. And so it is now configuring out this. It's reading our env local. So here it's saying install Vercel. We're gonna go ahead and do that. And we're just gonna pop out this terminal here. Now let's create a Vercel project and deploy it. First log in to Vercel, run command, and here. And so this is actually the first time that I'm deploying on Vercel, but we're actually just gonna figure this out together. So we're gonna go to Vercel and you sign into Vercel and you're gonna actually use what you're going to do is you actually sign in with GitHub. You need to create a GitHub account. So let's just do this right now. So we're going to go to GitHub. And what we're going to do here is once you create an account on Git, we're going to go to Vercel. And once we create an account on Vercel, you then set up and you're going to connect your GitHub. And once you have your GitHub set up on here, so now here it's asking you to continue with GitHub. So we're just going to run this just like this, and it automatically took us here straight from the terminal. So when I asked it to deploy it, it said, now let's create a Vercel project, and it asked us to log in, and it immediately took us there. If you've never signed in before, the instructions might be a little different, and you may need to go through the process. And I think it's really short, honestly, if I remember correctly. Here, after it says, after logging in, and it said the login was a success, we can run the command, and we are going to hit pop out terminal, yes or no, yes. Which scope should contain your project? Let's just go ahead and use this right here. Link to existing project, no. What's the name of your project? Gen Z Jimmy, enter. In which directory is your code located? All right, let's say you don't know what this means, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, I don't fully know what that means. We're just gonna say, I'm trying to deploy on Vercel and they asked me this question. What is the answer and how do I figure it out if you don't know the answer? And so we're just gonna run it like this. So what do I do in the terminal? Okay, so we're gonna put nothing. So it says type // and we're just gonna put nothing because it's in the root folder. We're gonna press enter. Want to modify these settings? No. So it says linked to the account and it is now building. Okay, let's see here. Let's go to Vercel. Here we can see it. Gen Z Jimmy, Vercel app, just now. And so you can click on this and it says no production deployment, and we can actually press build logs and we can see the status. It is currently building. And it's been building for 50 seconds. And so let's see if this succeeds or failed. and it'll tell us right here whether it succeeded or failed. Okay, cool, we got an error. This happens a lot when you're trying to deploy. It's not easy to deploy. What we need to do is we're just gonna copy the whole thing here, and I'm gonna copy all of the text from this for the error warning, and I'm gonna go back to cursor, and I'm gonna say error on deployment, and we're gonna run this. And so here it's actually saying that we need to put our environment variables, which are OpenAI API key and these 4 things, to Vercel. So what I can do is I can copy all of my API keys that are listed below. I don't want to show you because I don't want my API keys exposed, but you can literally copy all of them. So I'm going to copy them. And then within settings on Vercel, we're going to look for environment variables, and we're just going to paste these in right here. So we're going to press Command V, and that pastes them in there automatically. It says add, and they will be added all at once. After adding the environment variables, let's redeploy. So let's run this command, and look at that. It says now status ready. Now that we added the environment variables, it shows us this link right here. So then we can press this visit button, and as you can see here, we have our app. And so either of these links will take you to the page. You can copy this link right here and send it to anyone, right? And we can enter this in, and boom, it takes us to the app.